Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajwa and I hope this video finds you well. If you are new to this place, please consider subscribing. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much and welcome back. In one of my recent videos in which I spoke about the latest release by Latafa, which is Bade'e Sublime, I had a comment by a viewer who was like, so which one is your favorite among the Bade'e line? How would you rank them? And the response I gave him was, I've not really thought about it. They all, perform different functions for me. So I've not really thought about it. But he came back and he was like, that was not helpful. And I was like, okay, because I had honestly not thought about ranking these three, which is Sublime, Amethyst, and then Oud for Glory, which make up the Bade'e line. I had really not, thought about it. But afterwards, I was like, you know what? I think I have a favorite amongst these three. So why not? I mean, I can just do this video to let people know which one I think is my favorite. And this is purely my favorite. And it is not like casting stone, or I'll not say this is how you're supposed to like them according to my taste, but these are just my ranking. So I'll just start off with like a sort of comparison video. These three by no means can be compared. They are quite different. The Sublime, Amethyst, and Bade'e Oud for Glory. I will start with the two which smell similar in my opinion, which are Bade'e Amethyst, and Oud for Glory. So Oud for Glory was launched back in 2020, whilst Amethyst was launched back in 2021, and Sublime is quite recent, so it's 2023 May. These are the two which smell alike, with this one being a little animalic with double dose of agarwood. So we have agarwood in the middle and patchouli as well in the middle, as well as agarwood and patchouli in the base. The notes for these two are quite different, like very, very different. This one has pink pepper, some bergamot, Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, some vanilla, and some few other notes. So the note structure for these two are very different, but somehow they manage to sort of smell alike. If you smell Oud for Glory, which is like a very smooth saffron heavy with that agarwood fragrance, you are not too far from smelling what I perceive in Amethyst. Although it doesn't have the same note structure, you get that woody, musky, skunky vibes that you get in Oud for Glory. The only difference I find in between these two is that this one has an additional note of rose, which is like the major difference between these two. It has this rose which is quite synthetic and a bit rubbery, it comes off as a bit of rubbery, which a lot of people dislike about Amethyst. But when you put that aside, or if you want to really, to my nose, I guess for like Amethyst is like a combination of Oud for Glory and a bit of rose, which is quite synthetic. That is how I see them. They both have like very good or par. The performance for these two are quite at par. You get a very good 8 hours plus on this one, whilst you get this 8 hours plus on Amethyst as well. When it comes to Sublime, which is quite new, it is absolutely different from these two. It is totally like a 360. Nothing like these two, Amethyst and Oud for Glory. This is just a fruity, tropical, when I first reviewed it, I was still very new to it, but after playing with it for a while, I get this fizzy, tropical, plum and peach and apple in it. It is very, very fruity. It's not even floral in any way. It is very fruity, very likable, very mass appealing, very gentle, and it's the most playful amongst these three. These two, Amethyst and Oud for Glory, are not really playful. They are quite formal. They are not like everyday wear to me. I find both of these quite formal, quite strict, sort of, dressed up, whilst the Sublime, I feel like it's a bit more casual. All three I consider unisex fragrances. All three, Oud for Glory, Amethyst, and Sublime, I consider all three unisex fragrances, but I think the most masculine amongst them is Oud for Glory. it is the most masculine because it has very little sweetness. You know, it has no vanilla, unlike Amethyst. Amethyst has some vanilla, but this one has some patchouli and some musk and agarwood and saffron and lavender. It doesn't have any sweetness to it, you know, just a little. When you try to really sniff, then you can get a bit of some sweetness. So it is quite you know, it is not sweet at all. But Amethyst, on the other hand, has some vanilla and some rose, you know, which makes it a bit, and some bergamot, which makes it a bit brighter and much more sweeter. They are both very unisex in nature, but I find this one quite masculine leaning, whilst I find Amethyst to be very, very unisex. On the other hand, however, although Sublime is unisex, I find it quite feminine leaning. I don't think it, because it doesn't have that agarwood or oud or skunk, unlike the two I've spoken about. It comes off as more feminine leaning to me. I mean, it is not like super sweet. It is not overly sweet. It has some vanilla, you know, some jasmine, some apple, some peach, you know. It's some plum. It doesn't have peach. It has some plum, and it's quite sweet, but it is not like overly sweet. And that is one thing I like about this fragrance. They are all three are not overly sweet, you know. These are not playful, with the exception of Sublime. It is the most playful amongst the three, but these two, Amethyst and Oud for Glory, are quite formal, quite serious, quite not too playful. That is what I find amongst these three. So now, how do I rank them? My ranking them depends on a lot of things. For example, I think the major reason I'm choosing one as the number one is its usefulness to me. How often do I use it? How often do I, you know, get occasions to get this one to? How is the scent profile to me? Do I prefer it? You know, it's like a whole lot. And the number one amongst these ones that I would choose is Oud for Glory. It is not the most mass appealing among these three, but this is my favorite amongst the three, Oud for Glory, because I love that classy, formal, sort of straight, masculine vibe it has, you know. Although it's quite unisex, I love this, you know. There's something about it which is quite sensual and sexy to me. It is quite enjoyable, and it's absolutely not for everybody. You need to appreciate woody, skunky, musky, or animalic fragrances before you can truly appreciate Oud for Glory. I like it because I really gravitate towards those kind of notes in fragrances, and it is one that I find a lot of usefulness for it. Then I come to my second favorite amongst these three, which I would choose Sublime. I'm choosing Sublime for a reason that I will explain for Amethyst. But I'm choosing Sublime because it is very versatile, it is quite playful, it is very mass appealing, it doesn't offend anyone. It is also quite an easy reach, you know. It has that tropical plum, peachy, apple vibes. Very, very easy to wear, very inoffensive, you know, quite mass appealing. That is what I like about this. It is also quite a unisex fragrance that a lot of people can play with. It doesn't come across as too sweet or overly feminine. So that is why I'm choosing this one as my second choice. And the reason why I would put Amethyst in the third place is not because I do not like it. I love this fragrance. The only thing is that synthetic oud, synthetic rose, rubbery touch that this one has. You know, when you apply this one initially, it gets you that. But the dry down is one of the most beautiful, very, very beautiful. I'm not even exaggerating. It's one of the most beautiful dry down you can get in, you know, an woody, skunky fragrance, you know. It has no mask, but it is quite skunky, and coupled with that vanilla and the rose, it is quite beautiful. It is actually very beautiful at the dry down. So that is the reason why I love this fragrance. But the reason why I have put it at the last or at the third is simply because of that synthetic rubbery nuance this one has, which is quite not a mass appealing one. And for that reason, a lot of people have complained about this fragrance, and that is the only reason why I'm putting this one in the third place. So if you ask me, I mean, I love Wood for Glory. I love it. I would choose it over these three any day. Sublime is quite a mass appealing one. Recommend for all ages, all occasions. If you don't really want to be that person who is like showing off with a lot of oomph giving fragrance, I think this one is going to be appropriate for you. You know, if you love mass appealing fragrances, you don't need to think about this. Is quite a good one. And then Amethyst, which is obviously a good one, but for that reason of it being a bit synthetic, a bit rubbery, that is the reason why this is my my third choice. They are all amazing fragrances for different occasions, different personalities, you know, and this is just my personal ranking. You know, it is not like casting stone that is how you're supposed to like them. It's just my personal ranking. That is all I have for you today. I hope you found this video useful. If you are new to this place, kindly consider subscribing. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that. Thank you, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.